Are you ready to love up on yourself? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about self-love. We started talking about this last week, and we shared some very beautiful things. Let me just take you through some of them. One of the first things we established is that when we speak about love, especially love for yourself, we said that it's strengthened from your understanding of how much God loves you. Okay, so when you know that God loves you, you receive His love, then you can go ahead to express that same love both to yourself and to the world around you. That is very fundamental. All right, and then we went on to establish a number of very solid points about self-love, and one of which is that self-love is derived from knowing your source. When you know your source, then you know your value. Okay, because the value of a thing many times is connected to its source. And I remember giving the example of diamond, and I said if you cut diamond into several pieces, okay, every tiny piece of it is still a diamond. I said when you convert sugar, processed sugar, from the sugar cane, okay, the basic element of that substance is still sugar. When you take a tiny piece of salt, a tiny molecule, if you can isolate a single molecule of salt, it is salty. Why? Because of the source. Okay, so we said that to a large extent your value is understood from understanding your source. And when we were explaining that, we saw something phenomenal, because we said that what it cost God to get us is an example of how valuable we are. And we saw that from the Bible. When God wanted to get the attention, wanted to get man to Himself, what He did was sacrifice Himself. So I remember explaining that you are worth the blood of Christ, and Christ is the Son of God. It means you are worth God. God needed your attention. God needed to get you on His side, and what He did was pay the ultimate price, the highest price ever. He gave blood for your sake. So when you understand this, it helps you to, think of yourself highly, that if God could send His Son Jesus Christ to die for my sake, then I am that valuable. You need to establish that you are that valuable. You are that valuable. See, God is interested in you. Okay, so you be interested in yourself, and don't let anybody talk you down. God is interested in you. He's deliberate about you. He took His time to form you in your mother's womb. Okay, I tell people all the time that if the situations or circumstances that led to your birth were a mistake, the circumstances around it were a mistake, the fact that there was conception of life and you made it through, that one is not a mistake. That one shows that there is a particular purpose for your life. It shows that God has a plan for you, and it's a beautiful one at that. So you need to spend some time to find out what this is, so that you can walk in that reality, and it just changes your whole outlook on life. So we established that, okay, that you are valuable to God. You are worth God. You are worth God. If it took Him the blood of His Son to get you to His side, then you are that special, and you need to establish that in your spirit, in your mind, in your body. You need to know that. You need to receive it. You need to settle it in. All right. And I remember giving you the examples of different devices. If you get an old, say Nokia 3310 phone and the latest model iPhone, okay, which one you were going to treat, more specially, and which one you were going to treat as a baby. And everyone unanimously said, oh yes, of course, the iPhone. Why is it? Because of the value. When you know the value of something, you don't treat it anyhow. In the same vein, if you know the value of yourself, you will not treat you anyhow. Can you imagine that people actually respect things that can be bought with money? People respect things more than they respect themselves. Can you imagine that people love things more than they love themselves? Can you imagine that? That somebody makes the whole essence of his life or her life to acquire things. Things. Can you just imagine that? So when you see people who do things like that, it's showing you that there is a strong lack of self-love. A strong lack of self-love, and that they lack that love because they don't understand their source, they don't understand their value. And then remember the other thing we spoke about last week, self-esteem, how you estimate that you are worth. Okay, so it's one thing to be worth $1 billion, and it's another thing to estimate yourself to be worth less than that, maybe $100. Okay, so it's one thing to know, to have worth, and then to know it. The challenge many times is people don't know their worth, and that's why we're having these sessions. Okay, I told you that what you're worth is priceless. It's so powerful. It's so massive. No human can actually, deserve you per se. I mean, because it took God to get you. You're so priceless. Do you understand? That is your true worth. But then, how do you see yourself in your own eyes? That brings us to the question of self-esteem. How do you estimate your worth? Okay, and when some people are doing this, they start looking at all the things they shouldn't be looking at. They look at all their shortcomings, all the mistakes in their lives, all the things they have failed at, all the things they couldn't do well, all the areas they struggle, the things people laugh at them for. They just pick all the things that are not necessary, all the wrong things. So when they look at all those things, the thoughts that go through their minds are disempowering thoughts. Those thoughts make them feel like you're nothing, you are not special, you're not good enough. Look at you, see where you are, look at your mates. They have gone ahead of you, everyone is doing fine, what's happening to you, you are just there. They begin to think of all those nonsense. I call them nonsense because they don't take you anywhere. Especially if all you're doing is sit down there and sulk and cry and wait for somebody to show up from somewhere to change your life. There's a fundamental problem there. You need to wake up and realize that it's not anybody who is doing this for you. It's you who has to wake up to the reality of who you are and love on yourself. When you love on yourself, there are many things you will never do again. I remember asking last week that the fact that your phone, is a water-resistant phone, or your wristwatch is a water-resistant wristwatch, does that mean that every evening when you get home and you're about to have your bath, you bring out a bucket of water and soak the phone and the wristwatch in there just because it was said that it is water resistant? Or when you're going to the bed at night, you soak the phone in the water because it's water resistant after all. If you do that, then you will discover that there was a clause in that water resistant thing. There are certain depths and certain duration where that clause will not hold. Okay, but you say, I thought it's water resistant, that's why I put it in the water. And then you see that you're going to damage that product. Okay, so the truth is, you are valuable. Because you don't understand this, that is why you go do all manner of terrible things. Because you consider yourself less valuable than you truly are. And we see this everywhere. I mean, I'm going to talk about a number of ways, how you can love yourself, things that you will do that shows that this person really loves himself or loves herself. And we need to teach these things, because every time, I walked into a mall today and I saw people, should I say this now? Okay, let me say it. I saw the way some ladies dressed. They were more undressed than dressed. And I was asking myself, what exactly is going on in these people's minds? Why are they doing this? When they look at themselves in the mirror, what have they estimated themselves at? What value have they placed on themselves? How do you go out and dangle everything that is supposed to be private in the public at no cost, even for free? If it's a case where people are coming to pay you to even see it, maybe we'll say you're getting some value from that. But how do you just dump everything? It really breaks my heart when I see these things, because many of these people are teenagers, many of them are in their early 20s, and you're wondering, where is this concept from? Who are you trying to be like? What are you copying? Who are you trying to be like? Why are you getting these ideas? It's messing up your mind. No matter how guys try to dress indecently, somehow they still cover the parts of their bodies that are important. Why is it the ladies who must reveal theirs? And I make bold to say that many times when people do things like that, it's because of a fundamental lack of self-value. Because they are putting value strictly on their physical features, and they think that when you see those values, when you see those features, you would think of them highly, you would highly regard them, you would think they are beautiful, you would want to talk to them, you would want to have something to say to them. They think that by doing those things, they are trendy, they are up to date. But for goodness sake, when people see you, what are the thoughts that cross their mind? Why is it that the guys who see you always want to ask you out and want to sleep with you? That is the vibes you're sending out. That's the vibes you're sending out. Are you comfortable with that? Is that what you think of yourself? Are you everyone's rag? You need to think about that. Yeah, it's from social media. So you see, people because they are looking for how to define their worth, they go all out searching from the wrong places. I remember a song, by a Christian group that I've forgotten the name. Was it Trinity, or who was it, or Out of Eden? They said, looking for love in all the wrong places. All the wrong places. You need to see what God has said about you. And I need anybody hearing this right now to know that you are special. You are special. God made you in His image and likeness. What can be bigger than that? Don't treat that lightly. Don't treat it lightly. Okay? So why am I sharing that? Because when you see how people treat themselves, it tells you whether or not they have true value for themselves. Yeah. So think about it for a minute. How are you treating yourself? How are you treating yourself? Do you consider yourself a great person? If you consider yourself a great and successful person, are you paying the price for that success? Are you working hard at it? Are you staying the course? Are you getting the necessary learnings and knowledge that you need for this? Or are you just there waiting on life to happen and someday you discover that you are successful? You see, if you really love yourself, it will determine the things you are doing to yourself. Let me share something I gleaned from Dr. Miles Monroe of blessed memory about different manifestations of self-love. And this is going to help you. He said, how you would know you have self-love is, one, you will have self-confidence. You'll be confident to speak about what you represent. Do you know there are people who don't have an opinion on anything? Even if they had an opinion, the moment somebody else said a different opinion, they will just quickly pick that opinion. They will just join themselves to it. They are afraid to stand for something. They are afraid to represent something. They are afraid to stick to something of their own, something that they have thought through themselves, or something that they believe for themselves. There are many people like that. There are people who, when they step forward, all they're thinking of is all the things wrong with them. So you tell them, hey, take the stage, and they're wondering, oh my God, why me? Oh, how am I going to do this? Everyone's going to be looking at me, everyone's going to be laughing at me. These are the people who, when they get into relationships, they take the words from their partners as law and as their life. So if their partner tells them you are beautiful, oh, their day is made. If their partner tells them you are not beautiful, oh, their day is destroyed. And I know many guys who have this terrible behavior of destroying a lady's self-worth. They tell her things like, who do you even think you are? Is it because I decided to date you? You're not even up to my level. How can somebody be telling you that and you're still there begging him? For what? Is it because of the money? Then again, you still don't know your worth. If you're dating somebody because of what gifts and what benefits, material benefits you're going to get from them. Because the truth is, your life is still, if you're a young person listening to this, you have a long future ahead of you. Don't start messing it up now by just thinking that everything about you is tied to this person you're calling lover or boyfriend or girlfriend. So because such abusive people see that you have a low self you have low self-confidence, they begin to pry on that. And they really deal with you, destroy whatever is left of that confidence, make you feel like there's nothing good in you. I've heard guys say that before to girls. Look at you. Who do you even think you are? No guy is gonna ask you out. Is it because I'm toasting you? Is it because I'm even talking to you? I mean, see as you be. And they start saying all those kind of rubbish. And then you listening to it, you start feeling bad, you start feeling weighed down. Or sometimes it's fellow girls that are telling it to themselves. See this one, look at you. Who do you even think you are? You're not up to so level. You can't. And then you are really looking down on yourself. If you are doing that, you lack self-confidence. And you're lacking self-confidence because you lack self-value. You're lacking self-value because you don't understand who you are and your source. And then you do not love yourself. Let me tell you something. You are beautiful just the way you are. There is greatness in you just the way you are. It might not be showing forth just yet, but you need to know it and you need to believe it, so that nobody begins to bamboozle you with anything. You are not moved easily. Be confident in yourself. There are people who are okay until somebody of a different skin color gets into the mix where they are. They suddenly just start feeling like they're inferior. Don't do that. In fact, let me even say this. If you go outside of the country and by force your accent has to change, maybe it also has something to do with your confidence level. Why can't you speak the way you're speaking? And if they can't hear you, let them say, I beg your pardon, and you tell them, yes, that is what I said. That is my original accent. That's how I talk. Why do you have to change it? It has something to do with what you're thinking of yourself. We used to have some people that they just get to the airport like this and the accent has changed. They've not even traveled out. Or maybe you're going to one African country and you're speaking a British or American accent. Calm down, love on yourself. Be okay just the way you are. Be confident in yourself. Be confident in yourself. Alright? So self-confidence will always show. In the same way that lack of self-confidence would always also show. People see it. There are energies around you. There are energies you're what's the word now? Dissipating or emitting at every point in time. When you're confident, people see it. When you're not, they see it. And it determines what they do with you next, how they talk to you. So if you're a young lady, be confident in yourself. It shows you have self-love. If you're a young man here, be confident in yourself. It shows you know who you are. You don't need to have everything now. And by the way, if you think you need to have a particular status, or you need to be of a particular status or social class to be able to talk to a particular kind of person, then you still lack confidence. You should be able to say to yourself, put me on the floor or in the room with anybody and I can address them and we can hold a conversation. Irrespective of how I'm dressed, irrespective of how I look, I can engage anybody who cares to listen to me. That needs to be your reality. But no, some people are not confident. They are shy, they are timid, they are afraid. They think every other person better than themselves. Please, if you are like that, you need to change and you need to start empowering yourself, knowing who exactly you are. You are great, you're solid, you are a great person. You are valuable. Let me move on because of time, and I hope I can really take all of these. If I can't take them, wherever I stop, I'll continue next week. All right? The next point there is self-respect. Self-respect. Respect also goes with honor. How do you regard yourself? How do you carry yourself? When you respect yourself, it will be easy to respect people. And guess what? People would also extend that respect back to you. I've heard so many people say, about their reasons for being rude to other people, that the person first started disrespecting himself. So you wonder why a small girl, as it were, maybe a teenager, is talking to a grown man anyhow, and you confront her. She said, he did not respect himself. So what do I mean by that? If you respect and highly esteem yourself, there are certain behaviors you would not do. There are some conversations you would not necessarily get into. There are some actions you would not get into. Why? Because you think highly of yourself. And self-respect does not in any way put others below you or put others down. It just simply means that you have a healthy estimation of yourself. You're not thinking yourself superior to other people, even if you truly are by any means of social classification, but you're not holding that as the basis for your confidence or for the way you're treating people. Rather, you're courteous, you're kind to them. That is self-respect. You're kind to people. You're courteous with people. Let me tell you something. If you always have to ask people, do you know who I am? Then it means you don't even know who you are. You don't even respect yourself. That is no way to get people to respect you. If you always have to flout your position so that people will accord you respect, then you don't even know who you are. And they should not even respect you just because of your position. As a matter of fact, John Maxwell says that the lowest level of leadership is the positional level. So if all you have is a position and you want people to regard you strictly because of that position, then you do not value yourself. Because right now, what you're doing is you're thinking of yourself highly simply because of that position that is attached to your name. So remove that position from you and you're worthless. You're back to ground zero. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So self-respect. It's lack of self-respect that will make a grown man go and be molesting a small girl. The next thing, you get caught and they beat you black and blue. And then you're wondering, it's lack of self-respect that will make you to get into certain arguments with people you should not even get into arguments with. Okay, so imagine somebody dressed for work in suit and tie and, looking all dapper. And then along the line, someone who drives a commercial bus who probably didn't have his bath that morning and really has nothing to lose, is trying to drag the road with you. You're driving a clean Mercedes-Benz luxury vehicle, and this guy is driving a what's the word for it now? I'm looking for that word. This one rickety bus that the paint has scraped off everywhere. Everywhere is full of iron. You're driving a clean Benz, and then you are contesting positions with such a driver. That's lack of self-respect. Or you're exchanging words with somebody like that. That's lack of self-respect. Why? Because you don't even know where you are placed. You don't even know where you stand compared to the other person you are trying to be exchanging words with. The next thing, you get into a fight and the guy beats you black and blue. And then they ask you what's going on, what happened to you? You say I had an accident, because you cannot say I fought with a bus conductor or I fought with a bus driver. If you had self-respect in the first place, you would allow them be. You won't have to be exchanging words. And take note, I'm not by this demeaning any person. Don't forget, I said that with self-respect, you're not considering yourself necessarily superior. But because you know your worth, you would not get into certain kinds of behaviors. Alright? Yeah. So if you truly love yourself, you will respect yourself. You would know what kind of ways to treat yourself. Sometimes when you're warning people, you tell them respect yourself. In other words, in contemporary pitching, we'll say give yourself brain. Think. Give yourself reasons not to behave the way you're behaving. Maybe you don't know you should not be behaving like that. So give yourself reasons not to behave like that. That's self-respect. And self-respect derives from an understanding of self-value. Look at the things many people do. Look at a very highly placed, global executive of one of the biggest financial institutions in the world molesting a hotel waitress. That's lack of self-respect. Because even if you needed sexual gratification, you could have afforded it. You could have paid a professional service for it. But then you're molesting somebody. That's lack of self-respect because of a lack of understanding of your value, because of a lack of understanding of your worth. Okay, yes, there are many other factors to that, but that is one of it. You see, so if you take a critical look at some of these things I'm sharing and think it against some of the ways you portray yourself and the things you do, you would really ask yourself, do I really love myself to be behaving in this way? Do I really love myself to be behaving in this way? Some people cannot be polite to anybody. And then, of course, when you speak harshly to people, they return the harshness to you. And then before you know, an argument ensues and perhaps a fight. All that could have not happened if you had the basic respect, courtesy, and honor to know that you should treat people honorably. Not because they are deserving, but because you are honorable. I need to say that again. You treat people honorably, not because in themselves they are necessarily deserving, but because you are an honorable person. So you respect people because you are respectable. You honor people because you are honorable. Whether or not you think they deserve it. No, it's not about them. It's you. It's who you are. Do you understand that? And again, you see, all of these things derive from self-understanding of your source, your value. You can't love yourself if you don't know your value, and you can't know your value if you don't know your source. All right? Let me move on in this. Okay? There's also the self-assurance. You know that things might not be okay just yet, but things will work out. I have all it takes. You don't wait for your encouragement to always come from outside. You know how to encourage yourself from within. You know how to assure yourself from within. You are bold. You are bold to face situations. You are bold because you know that I can go through this. I can weather this storm. I can survive this tempest. I can survive this obstacle. You know it. You see? And then it energizes you to face whatever that issue is. Don't forget that the things I share about most times, they are things that are directed at improving the quality of your life as an individual. It's not every time I'll be talking about lover, or you know. Because if you're a better person, it will naturally translate to you being a better lover and a better partner. So ultimately, we have to improve the value of you. Ultimately. And you cannot even love people properly if you don't have self-love. And these are some of the things that show that you have self-love or you do not have it. Let me move on. Okay, I spoke about self-assurance. Okay, you are bold, you are unafraid. You can face any situation. You know you have what it takes in you to surmount it. You know? And whether you surmount it at that instance or not, you stay there. You stay the path. You know, you don't give up anyhow. No. You don't need other people to. Yes, you can always use an encouragement, right? From someone else. But then, deep down within yourself, you have that feel, you know, that you need to push, to move on. You don't always have to wait for somebody else to come and, you know, strike the inspiration in you, and then you start going and waiting for the person to give you the next nudge so that you can move on. No, you can self-motivate. You can drive yourself. That is a mark of self-love. You say, okay, I want to achieve maybe a particular enhancement in my career. What should I do? I need to take this course and that course. Okay, now it's not very easy, but then you tell yourself, I'm going to put my head in it. I'm going to face it. After all, other people are doing it. I can do it. You know, that's self-assurance. That's self-motivation from within. You don't need to wait for other people to push you. You don't need to wait for somebody to tell you, I'm going, I'm with you. No, even if the person is not with you, move on by yourself. Cross that river. Climb that mountain. Do you understand this? You need to be self-assured, self-motivated, because you know who you are. You know that you carry something great on your inside, and you need to know this. Every human being, Christian or not, every human being carries greatness on their inside. Why? Because the blessing God spoke when he was making man was to mankind. So long as you are human, that blessing is over you. So long as you are human, whether born again or not, that blessing is on you. There are other advantages when you are born again, yes, but your being human already energizes you with divine abilities from birth. That is why everybody has talent. Everybody has potential. Everyone. Because when God made you, he spoke greatness over you. Everybody, including you listening to me, everybody. Don't let anything or anybody make you doubt the graces, the talents, the abilities you carry on your inside. Oh wow. I know some people who will do very well in a particular thing, but they would never feel like they have done well until somebody else says, that was good. And then all of a sudden they will brighten up. Oh wow, they said it was good. So what if no one told you it was good? But then guess what? Because such a person cannot motivate and assure themselves from within, what happens is that even if they did excellently well and a hater comes and says that was terrible, if 10 people said it was very good and one person said it was terrible, they will still hold on to that person that said it was terrible, and they'll start feeling bad, they'll start sulking, start demoralizing themselves, because there was no self-value, there was no self-love, there was no self-assurance and self-motivation. Okay, so when I talk about self-love, it's not just about buying flour and taking nice selfies. Many people take selfies, and smiling and use filters, and many of them are even depressed. Many people who take selfies and just post and wear the nice clothes, many of them are depressed, many of them are confused, many of them don't even know what to do next. So when I'm talking about self-love, it's not just about all those external charade. It's about the quality of what is going on in your heart, in your thinking. All right, let me move on. I'm running quite low on power. I just saw it. Okay, let me move on, and I may need to close this session earlier because of that. Okay, now let me speak about something that has happened recently. Okay, you see, when you love yourself, one of the things you'll be able to do is to protect yourself. Protecting yourself doesn't only mean being a harm to other people because you're trying to protect yourself, but it means that when you recognize something destructive, something harmful, something not good for you, you will avoid it with everything you've got. And I'll give you examples. Medically, there are certain consumptions that are not good for you. Alcohol is not good for your body, especially those who consume it, out of proportion. Drugs, hard drugs, unprescribed drugs are not good for your body. But then people go for those things. Unprotected sex can expose you to a lot of troubles that you can never even imagine. But yet many people go and do these things because of passion, because of pleasure. And I tell you, no, it's not passion, no, it's not pleasure, it's lack of self-love. How can you know that there's a trap in front of you and you walk into it? How can you know that there's destruction waiting for you next door and you go open that door? Why do you do that? And then let me say this. Why do you see a relationship that is abusive and destructive and you stay there? Why do you do that? You owe it to yourself to protect yourself. It's not love. It's not submission. If it's abusive, you need to exit and save your life. You need to survive. In the past week, social media has been agog with a particular singer who we understand, was physically abused to the point where she lost her life. And everybody's saying, what were you doing there? Why didn't you leave? Yeah, they were the same people who I'm sure, many of them, if you had asked them, they say, no, you cannot leave your home. After all, you're already married. And somebody's beating you black and blue. If you love yourself, please, you will set yourself free from any abusive relationship. And if you don't know how to do that, please consult with people who will help show you the way. This is one of the areas religion hasn't helped people, because they tell you, God will be angry with you. Hey, it is a sin. That is not true. Take it from me. When he said in the Bible that God hates divorce, don't worry, I'm going to speak about divorce one of these days. You'll be shocked at what I'll tell you. What do you mean? You are responsible for your life. Don't submit your life to anybody to take it on the platter just because you are afraid of what God would do or what God would think. God loves you too much to allow you harm yourself. Abuse is abuse. It's not submission. It's lack of self-love that will make you sit down there. You don't understand this. You need to love yourself to preserve your life. You need to love yourself to protect yourself. There are certain places you will not go to because you know it can be harmful to you. There are certain people you will not associate with because you know these people can be harmful to you. You don't trust them. You don't trust what they are doing. You don't trust their intent. These people can be potential harm, so you run away from them. But no, you stay there. Because you have already made a mistake, you say, okay, let me just stay since I'm already married. No. Listen to me. If he is abusive, if she is abusive, you owe it to yourself to run away, save your life, and survive to love another day to someone who is more human. I hope somebody understands this. Self-love is shown in self-preservation and self-protection. You owe it to yourself to protect yourself. If you want to go somewhere and you feel a signal in your heart that I'm not feeling this place, I'm not vibing it, don't go there. Yes, thank you. You say consult with people and then listen to the advice. When they tell you run away, yes, run. See, God is your father. God loves you. I wish I could drag this point enough. God loves you too much to allow you go harm yourself or be killed by somebody else in the name of love. Okay? So please take note, for all of you who are in abusive relation and those of you who are abusers, don't worry, your own judgment will come. No problem. Alright? I'm not talking to you right now. Your judgment will come. If you're here and you demoralize people, you treat people like they're less humans, you treat people like they're worth nothing, you talk to them anyhow, you treat them like a piece of trash, your judgment is coming. It's very wrong and you need to desist from that. Alright? If you are the one on the receiving end, take it from me. Cut yourself loose and save your life. Okay? Someone says that there's the excuse of staying because of children, because there are already children in the marriage. Okay, so let you just stay. Yet it's an abusive home. Please save yourself and save those children. Every time they are witnessing that abuse, you don't know the destruction it is registering in their brains and what it's doing to their future. Those people don't grow up as normal, wholesome children most of the time. So for the sake of them, don't stay, run. You can't say you're staying there because of the children. You're just further damaging society. You're damaging yourself and damaging society, because what they are seeing is what they are also going to carry out. It's the idea of love that is being put in their minds. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll stop here for now. Because my power is running out. I've been touring, I've been traveling. I just got in a while ago and my device wasn't fully charged. So by the way, I'm in Nigeria right now. I'm in Port Harcourt right now, and we're having a wonderful time throughout this week at the Jam Summit. It's holding at the Rivers State University. Jam Summit is a gathering of young people, Christian Fellowship International. It's a campus outreach of Church of God Mission all over Nigerian campuses and beyond. Okay, several thousands of young people are going to be there, and we'll be sharing tips about love, about marriage. We're even going to have a crash premarital masterclass in the course of this program. So if you're in Port Harcourt, you want to do well to participate. If you're not, no problem. We'll continue with our other regular programs. Alright, so I'll just need to stop here for now, but please take note. If you truly love yourself, you will preserve and protect yourself. Run away from anything that is harmful, whether it is people or it is substances. Run away, desist from them, desist from behaviors and practices that will end your life, that will shorten your life, that will cut you short from achieving your full potential. If I tell you that in the next 20 years you're going to be the richest person in the world, but if you keep doing this particular behavior, you'll be cut short in the next 5 years, are you going to continue doing that thing? Think about this for a while. Think about this. Then you'll see that part of the reasons people indulge in destructive behaviors is because there is no vision, there is no hope, there is nothing they are looking forward to, so they think this is all about life. How I feel right now, indulge the feeling. But no, you shouldn't do that. I hope this has been worth your time. Please, I'll have to stop now, and we would continue next week. Thank you so much for your time. I love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the evening or rest of the day, depending on where you are. Peace out and bless you.